Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Police Becoming a Cop. I almost said the Police Applicant Podcast, man. It's Becoming a Cop. We also belong to a conglomerate of entertainment places like the Police Applicant Podcast, policebackground.net, prepforduty.com, and all that. And with me tonight is the amazing, sexy, eye candy Donovan Heavener. Wow. Donovan, what's up?
Nothing's happening. Nothing new.
And then also the Southern Eye Candy, Rob Berry's here as well.
Southern? Oh, yeah.
Southern Eye Candy. Yeah. That's right.
I guess I'm Southern now.
So we're here.
Y'all.
We're here. What's been going on, Rob? You missed a couple of weeks. You were studying and trying to get that GED and all that. What's going on?
GED? It's been a little bit busy a few weeks. Luckily now it's kind of cruising a little bit. I mean, it's still going to be a little stressful because we have some things coming up towards the end of May, but no big deal. I got 7 weeks left. Feels like an eternity.
7 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
Man. Hey, Donovan, is that the longest lateral academy you've ever heard of?
When they have a lateral academy, yeah, I've never heard of one that long.
Yeah. So this is our lateral academy is 3.5 months long. LAPD's is actually 3 months long, I think.
Really?
If I remember correctly. I talked to somebody who's in the academy right now, and I guess they have like a couple laterals in there, and it's about 3 months long.
And then you'll be post certified and all that goodness.
Yep. My FTO phase, because it's 17 working days. That's how long my FTO phase is.
FTO 17 days.
Yes. More of basically from there we get cut loose and we're working by ourselves. So that'll be fun.
I mean, they trust you and everything. I've seen people that have gone to other agencies, and some of them, it was Southern California, but they've lateraled to a smaller agency, maybe in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, and they treat them like boots. They they hate LAPD, and they treat them like boots.
That's Southern California in general.
They just don't like LAPD, man.
No, they don't.
I had a buddy that was a police chief years and years ago in Chino, California, and he told me, and he's a chief, and he told me that LAPD guys that applied had 5 years or more, they just wouldn't take them.
Yeah. In all honesty, I mean, that's kind of my experience that I had. A number of agencies in Southern California, just like I'd be non-selected, like for no reason. I'm just like, no idea why. So yeah, I did talk to, and I won't name drop the agency because they probably don't want that out there, but it was a sergeant. I was actually went in for the first interview and didn't pass it. But he told me afterwards, he's kind of like, yeah, we've had every LAPD applicant that we have hired as a lateral, within a year or two, they leave and go back to LAPD. He's like, every single one. So he was like, yeah, he's like, nothing personal against not passing you, but we're just not going to take anybody from LAPD. I'm like, fair enough.
I'm typing something here real quick. Just talk among yourselves. I will continue.
Talk among yourself. All right. So it's interesting, kind of going the lateral thing. Like California laterals are treated like, boots, like you're brand new. Whereas out here where I'm at, I mean, a lateral is treated like gold. I mean, you can kind of do no wrong. So it's it's interesting. And it's interesting being in a lateral academy and being with the basic recruits as well.
Yeah, well, a lateral that isn't running from something is a hot commodity. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny catches. Scott Abner, welcome, man. Glad you're here and catching this. And let's see here. Scott says they really don't. They always tell me don't apply for LEPD in San Bernardino County because why, Scott?
Yes,
Why? Because they
what?
don't like LEPD.
Well, I mean, it's San Bernardino County, and it's kind of a third-rate department. So
That's good. That's a
I'm waiting.
shout
I'm
out.
waiting for somebody to come on and jump on it and start making fun of me for that. It's an inside
Shots
joke I have
fired.
with a few people.
It is an inside
Jeez.
joke. I know.
Yeah, I got 2 buddies are there right now, so they're in the academy. One's actually going to be graduating in a month.
In a month.
So yeah, I will say I will give San Bernardino County props. They actually, from what I've heard, have probably one of the tougher academies.
Yeah, that's through. That's through. What do you call it? San Bernardino County Sheriffs, but it's a JC, so they have a JC academy, right? They don't have their own academy, do they?
I thought they
Yeah, they
did.
do.
Oh, do
They
they?
do.
Yeah, I thought they did.
That's a hardcore academy. I think it rivals the old Orange County Sheriff's Academy.
From what I've heard, yes, very much so.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it should be, Donovan, right?
That is 100% correct. Yes.
I think some people should go to San Bernardino from Washington State.
Oh, they would lose their minds. They wouldn't know what to do.
Y'all can keep the people on the West Coast. Don't come out where I'm at. There are too many Californians and West Coast people.
Too much Californians.
Yes.
Gosh. So tonight we're going to be talking about, can my reference or spiteful ex sync my background?
Oh boy.
This is one I think everybody can relate to.
Yeah, I think so, because it's a difficult thing for background investigators, and there's only so much they can do. So we're going to get into the particulars of why the background investigators can sometimes share stuff and sometimes they can't, and sometimes units or background units don't share anything anyways. So we're going to get into that. Let's talk about the references and how references can sync background. Donovan, I've had this happen before, where references think they're helping, and references, first off, references are supposed to be handpicked. And so you think it's a done deal, right?
For the most part. I mean, background investigator who's doing their job, they'll branch out from just a regular reference. But if you've picked your reference that you picked out should not sink the ship.
But how does that happen though? I have stories about that.
Yeah,
but how does that happen?
Again, like you said, they think they're trying to help. They're trying to place some sort of a hero kind of complex for that person that doesn't paint them in the right picture. If that makes sense.
So I will say this.
All right, let's hear it.
So I've had references that have mailed in the thing, and for instance, one of the ones that stuck out to me was the one where drugs, and they go, has the candidate ever used drugs? And the reference trying to help says, oh no, he never uses drugs. We only used it like 3 times. And on the candidate's PHS, they go, never, zero use drugs. Or something like that. Like, has a candidate ever lost their temper? One time he was about to get in a fight, but, he was all upset and then he walked away or something like that. And so there's things where they think they're helping the candidate, but in reality, they're just bringing stuff up that
it's bringing discrepancies.
Yeah. And so, and also there's the references who just don't respond. Those aren't good.
I would say that's more of the majority.
the majority of that's the worst thing. Um, that's the worst thing when they don't respond and you handpick them and you're supposed to and for the background investigator, you'd have to call the candidate and go, hey man, I'm not hearing from your reference and stuff like that.
Right.
How about you call them? And then they keep calling the reference and the reference doesn't even get back with them. And it's just not a good look. But as far as the references themselves, syncing a background, not very often. Is that what you find, Donovan?
Yeah, it's not often because there's times that you'll get a reference that will give you something kind of off the wall, and you're scratching your head like, this doesn't make sense. Background investigator is supposed to be looking for patterns and behaviors that match up along the way. So one-off reference isn't going to cause a problem. But if you keep seeing the same pattern coming from all your references, that's when the concerns builds up. Now, I mean, when you talk references, you're also talking family members and all that. Better treat your family members right, because I've seen some family members sink the ship as well.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you both in
For us
regards
both.
to references and stuff like that. Are you, as a background investigator, more concerned about what the reference says, or because I think on every one I've done, you ask for 2 additional contacts that might know the candidate. Are you more concerned about what the reference says or what those other 2 contacts would say?
Donovan.
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, rephrase the question.
Okay, so when background investigator sends out the letter to your references, whether it's email or whatnot, they fill it out. Usually they're always asking, a background investigator asks for additional references or additional contacts or people who would know the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, is more emphasis given on what those people say or what the original reference says?
For me, it doesn't matter. But also, Donovan, I'm going to be quite honest. I don't know how you feel about this, but some people, like, they'll turn in all kinds of references, and then every reference will have 2 additional references, and then they're all references that speak stellar about the candidate. And after a while, you're going, oh my gosh, can you just stop referring people to me? Because it's just additional work. So you send the reference letter off. They're called develop references, the ones that you write in. And it tends to be a pain in the butt. If you don't want your background investigator, speaking for myself, if you don't want your background investigator pissed off at you, tell your references not to add references, because the reason they say, hey, give us 7, or I don't know how many,
10.
7 to 10
7 to
references. 10. And if you give 7 to 10, they would say give us 20 references if they wanted 20 references, because do the number that they give you, Donovan.
So I will say that's the old school background investigator speaking.
That's
nowadays, because again, you would have to type all that up by hand. There's Ken, Ken was with a chisel and a hammer.
I was going to say, Ken, yeah. smoke signal.
But nowadays, with being able to hit a button, email those secondary references out, and then they're just emailed back to you. Now, the programs that background investigators use, AI summarizes it and drops it in your report for you.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Because
to me, give me as many as you can to make sure I can continue to develop if there's any patterns that are in there in that person's background. So it is different, Ken, because you're looking at the old school way. And when before the programs came out, I was just like you, quit sending me the references. Now I'm just like, give me all you can, because I'll just have AI summarize it, throw it in there for me.
Okay. And so that's a good advancement. And before I left LEPD backgrounds, I was using ESOF.
Who is sold?
Who has been sold?
It is official. They have been sold.
Sold?
NeoGov bought them, and they are now
NeoGov
part of Vetted. So,
interesting.
So I was using ESOF, and all that stuff was automated and things like that. But still, it just added a different additional work. But it sounds like they made some enhancements now. Because when did AI come into play? What, about a year ago? Maybe a year and a half?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty quick. And I just talked to the developer over at Vetted at NeoGov, and he's like, yeah, they have it built right in the program now where it just goes ahead and it will summarize those references for you and drop it into a template for a report. So you don't have to really do a lot of work. Just review, make sure the information's correct as always, but there's not much typing you have to do now.
Oh, that's cool. But you have to still review.
You have to review it. I mean, yeah, but reviewing it compared to typing it,
I never
Holy
typed
Reviewing
it.
it.
What?
I was going to say reviewing it shouldn't take that long, but yeah, if you're having to physically mail out things to people, then it takes a lot longer.
right? But this is just you're emailing it. You might have to enter in the email address by hand,
Right.
but then it sends it out. And I know you say you didn't have to type it, but typing up a summary if you needed it, now it just types out. Now it just does a summary for you.
Yeah, for the summary, but for the reference letters for old school LEPD, we just got the reference letters and we include them and say references.
Oh, yeah.
All were positive, and we didn't have to. But there were some agencies that they wouldn't allow you to mail out the references and have them come back. They would make the background investigator. Federal backgrounds are famous for this, where they used to, I don't know about now, but they used to have to individually call every reference and do the report themselves.
Jeez.
I don't know how many agencies do that now.
Yeah, but again, AI is dropping into this full throttle because if I do a background and I'm doing a interview, 9 times out of 10, I'll try to do it over Teams. Teams, when you record a Teams call, it comes up with a transcript, and again, now I can summarize that transcript.
Oh, see, and this AI stuff is probably coming out because you and I were talking about having some AI people on the podcast, where there are companies that go fully AI for the whole background. And that's only been, I think you and I have only been discussing that maybe the last couple of years at the
Oh yeah, yeah. It has not been long that they've been utilizing AI. Coming into the background world, really full force being integrated probably within the last year.
Okay, you heard it here first, guys. We're gonna hit up Donovan on an AI episode and find out all the ins and outs about how AI is being used in backgrounds. And are you finding that the AI is accurately translating these summaries?
Oh, the summaries, yeah. There's very few errors. Yeah, I mean, if they do if they have to do a transcript for a video, there's going to be a couple errors here and there. But when they're just summarizing an actual document that was sent back, it works out really slick. It's really nice. Saves the background investigator a lot of time, and I think it really helps speed up the process now. So
cool.
Agencies who are taking the 4 to 6 months, they're not embracing AI whatsoever.
Are there companies or are there background units that have fully implemented AI? Is that a big thing?
No, I don't think you can fully implement. I don't think it can take over the entire background process. It's used as a tool. It's just another tool to help us, and a lot of it is just summarizing the information we bring in so that we're not doing all the typing.
Okay, so that's a good thing. We should do an episode about that and kind of bring people up to speed, because I'd like to be brought up to speed. There's a lot of, you know what? I think maybe some smaller. This is just my opinion, but I think some smaller agencies, and Rob, you might know a little bit about this too. The smaller the agency, the more they can invest in that. But an agency the size of NYPD, LAPD, and like that, where they have massive amounts of backgrounds to do, I wonder if they want to spend the money on all the architecture for that.
Usually they don't, because it's, yeah, the more they have to do, the costlier it's going to be, and the more issues they might have. But then if you look at a small department, then they may not need that because they may not have as many applicants.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times people have the money for that stuff, but let's talk about the Spiteful X. This has been going on for so long. I have a story, and first let me say this. And Donovan, you can tell me how you do all this stuff too. But the issue has always been with X's. Every time someone has given me information on somebody, I've always, at the end of it, they're trashing the candidate, whether it's an X and they're pissed off at the candidate or whatever. And I always ask them, is there anybody else that can corroborate what you're saying? Because I, as a background investigator, I can't just take somebody, because if your candidate tells you, yeah, we had a nasty split, it was bad, and then the ex comes in and goes, yeah, and then they murdered my cat, and they blah blah, and they did all these bad horrible things. It's a balancing act for the background investigator, because exes, and when they are talking about specific things like maybe domestic violence or other things, those references are confidential, and you can't even talk to the candidate about them. The flip side is, in beginning, I don't know when, but in the last few years, departments have moved to, it doesn't matter what the information is. We're not giving you feedback on your non-select or your DQ. Rob, you know about this.
All too well.
It could be something simple, and the flat out, we're just not going to talk to you about anything. So you don't know if you're getting railroaded or not, because you don't have an opportunity to mount a defense. So let me get your guys' opinions on this. And Donovan and I have talked about this at length. Him and I don't fully agree on the non-disclosure, but what are your guys' opinions aside from confidential information that's you're just not going to talk to anybody anyways, but just in general, the non-disclosure?
Go ahead, Rob.
So here's my opinion, my professional opinion on that. I think it does a disservice to a lot of people to not disclose anything, because, like, just from my personal experience, I mean, the number of times I got non-selected, I had no idea why. Like, all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, nope, we're not moving forward with you. Like, tough luck. And it's like, all right, well, what is it? And so the reason why I say it's a disservice is because, for an applicant, and this is speaking from an applicant's eyes, if I get non-selected from one agency, I don't know what it is that was wrong. Was it, I had too many tickets, or, whatever the case is, something that isn't confidential.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I would have no idea. So I don't know how to better myself to make me a more viable applicant, to the next department or in the future. So it's like you're kind of flying blind when it comes to applying and going through the process. And so, some agencies will say, well, because their background investigation is confidential or it's proprietary, whatever the case is, it's like, well, at least give me something to go on.
Yeah,
That's
and if
the number one complaint with all applicants is, when you get disqualified, they'll tell you like what kind of category it is. So you kind of have a general idea, but if you're non-selected, they'll never tell you.
And if I can add something before I go to Donovan.
No, you can't, Ken.
I want to add something, if I can. Lately, LAPD has been putting out DQ letters, and they say you've been disqualified. There's no standards. There's no driving. There's no drugs. There's no employment. There's no maturity and discipline. There's zero standards that are listed. And then they tell the candidate, you have 4 days to apply, to appeal.
Appeal, yep.
And then they have the gall to say, make sure you address all the issues and you're detailed but they don't tell you what you're addressing.
So it's funny you mentioned that, because this was 2 years ago now. I actually applied to be a LA County public defender investigator.
Mm-hmm.
Went through the whole application process, which wasn't that detailed. Got a conditional letter, did medical. I think I had to do, I forget what the other part was. And I had a start date, and then all of a sudden they rescinded it and said something in your background came up and you're disqualified. But it said, but you have 10 days to appeal it, and exactly what you said, you had to be detailed to refute whatever it was. And I'm like, there's nothing there. And so I actually remember talking to them, and they're like, they can't reveal anything if I appeal it, but if I don't appeal it, then they could tell me what I was disqualified for. And I'm like, well, that makes no sense, because like, if I'm going to appeal it, I have no idea what I'm appealing. But if I don't appeal it, then you'll tell me what you found out.
Yeah. Donovan, what's up, man? What is up with this stuff?
You know, I side on the side. I am not a fan of disclosure of disqualifications.
Well, let me add one more thing. What if the DQ is something that you went to your background investigator and you go, I got 3 tickets in the last year and blah, blah. And it's something that's obvious that you can go, hey, man, just clean up your driving record. Okay, something that's obvious to the candidate and the background investigator. Simple. What?
You're talking in an informal.
Informal? No, it's like the meet and greet.
Yeah, but that's still an informal disclosure to the candidate. Wow, oh, you got these tickets. I don't know if you're going to make it through.
No, why can't you just tell the candidate that? Why can't you just tell the candidate, hey, these tickets are going to be a problem. You're going to end up getting DQ'd for the tickets. Give it a year, clean up your record, bam.
But you're not telling them specifically that's what they're being DQ'd for. You're not even telling them they're actually being DQ'd because most background investigators don't get to make that decision. There's a hiring authority. There's someone always hire a chief or a commander or someone has to sign off on it. Where I always say, you know, I just collect the information, I gather it, I pass it up the chain. I know from past this is probably going to be a problem. Give them some insight. But when it's a formal disqualification, I really stay with the integrity of not releasing that information. If it's going to be maturity, integrity, employment history, that kind of thing, if it's just those general categories, I'm good with it. But getting into you know, bad reference, whatever, I'm not. And disclosing that stuff, I don't. We need to maintain the integrity of the background investigation, and it puts too much weight on the background investigator again because number one, you know me always saying our background investigators are not trained. They don't know what to say, what not to say. You don't know when they're going to overstep their bounds. If you say, well, disclose this, but don't disclose that. We've got to try to just keep it as easy as possible as far as when it comes to those disclosures.
So
what?
So why aren't you in favor of just telling them something that's obvious? Because it's out of the background investigator's hand, and the background investigators don't have the intelligence.
You can say that
to
training.
Not say
training.
The training.
You said intelligence. I said training.
To not spill the beans on what's confidential.
So you're saying out of officially, why not do it?
Yeah. Rob, you have 3 tickets in the last year. You can only have 2. Come back in a year.
Yeah, but again, what if it's a reference? What if it's a bad reference?
Those are confidential.
But if you say, oh, it's a bad reference, now they're calling all the references.
No, that's confidential. That you can't give that information on confidential information.
But then you're picking and choosing what you can disclose and what you can't.
Well, but I also think
it needs to be an all or nothing.
Also, too, it's not always black and white. Like your example, Ken. Like, oh, I had 3 tickets. You can only have 2. Sorry, like, wait till that. You know, my understanding is when it comes to non-selects or disqualifiers, it's never usually like a hard black and white reason. Like, oh, because you had X amount, you can only have Y amount. It's a combination of everything. It's more of a gray area than a black and white.
You're talking about certain absolute DQs that are standards that someone falls out of the standard.
Most, I would say, my assumption is most DQs aren't like absolute DQs where it's like, okay, they know why like they got disqualified.
Most of my DQs are absolutes. There's no question whatsoever.
Right. I'm sure there's some, but I think a vast majority of them probably aren't.
No, I'm saying majority of mine are hard, solid DQs. There's no question. There's far fewer that are like, I don't know kind of thing.
Well, then why can't you just, if it's an absolute like that, I mean, is it something where it's like, okay, these are the standards and they don't meet them? In that case, why couldn't you disclose it then?
If it's, again, it comes down to, I'm the all or nothing. You either need to do it for everything or you shouldn't do it for anything. Mm-hmm. And that's where, again, I just fall back on, it's just far easier for everyone just to say, just don't disclose it. I mean, and I have never worked in a place where anyone has ever challenged a disqualification. Never.
Well, have you always had the policy where you're not going to talk to them anyways? How are they going to challenge that?
That's
Yeah.
true too.
I just think that if it's a confidential source, you can't disclose it. I can't tell you anything.
Yep. So what are you telling them that they got disqualified for then?
So like in California, you have a right to see your own personnel file. Whether you're a current or former employee, you can go look at your personnel file. So if I go look at the personnel file that the candidate has access to, and there's 3 write-ups in there, and I go, hey, and I call them and I go, hey, what's up with these 3 write-ups, man? You didn't tell me about them. And they go, oh, I forgot, whatever they say. And then I go, yeah, you didn't disclose them to me. Tell me why. I forgot. Okay, fine. I forgot. I'm going to put that in the summary. I'm going to DQ them for dishonesty. And I'm going to tell them, you need to go look at your personnel file, man, and see what's in there. That's public. I mean, it's legally accessible information. I'm telling them, go look at these write-ups because you need to put them in your background. And I don't tell them, I'm going to DQ you for that. I tell them, dude, why did this happen?
Right.
Why did
They
this
can
happen?
deduce what it is.
Or I could say, I'm not going to tell you what's up, but you probably should go review your personnel file.
Right. But I mean, you're giving them indication what it is when you're talking to them. What I'm saying again, I'm talking formally. There shouldn't be anything in writing exactly.
In writing versus
the wink,
like
wink,
on the
nudge,
phone.
nudge.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Because I've had candidates, man, they're solid. They're good people. I want them to be cops. And then they screw up a little bit here or something's off here. And then I just go, sorry, bud. I'm not going to tell you anything, period. And then I ghost them.
I'll tell you, there's some candidates that I think will be a great cop. They've had a recent mistake that they're not going to get through. I'll tell them, hey, it might be in your best interest that maybe you go ahead and just withdraw right now.
There you go.
And give it a year and maybe come back.
Yeah, maybe 12 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And in my department I work at right now, we actually have a form for them to sign saying, yep, I'm withdrawing for this reason and I can reapply in 12 months. So they understand it. It's not I think our minimum disqualification is 18 months. So now they're not sitting out 18 months at least.
Yeah, at least you're giving them a little bit of hope and that they can fix it. Because there's a lot of candidates that are just rolling the dice and reapplying and not knowing what they're supposed to fix. Like we interviewed a guy named Adam, Rob, on the last podcast episode we did. He and correct me if I'm getting the timeline wrong, Donovan, but Adam came in to LAPD, got DQ'd, and then he knew he had to fix some things because they told him, here, you have to fix some things. So he goes back, I think it was 9 years, and then he goes in the Marine Corps, gets that crap together, betters himself and everything, comes back and applies to LAPD. I get the file. I go, this is just a horrible background from the past. And once I checked into it and those DQs, and we knew what the DQs were, those DQs didn't count anymore because they were old. I did the background. He's been a cop for 11 years now because he knew what he had to fix. And he went to the military to fix it because someone told him. But what if they didn't tell him and they go, man, you just DQ'd?
I think we're looking at this 2 different ways. You're talking informally telling them, right? Is that what you're getting at, Ken?
No, these were the DQ letters they used to put out back then. They would say, these are the standards, this is blah, blah, blah. And then from the standards, they could tell maturity, discipline,
Right.
employment.
You're like the categories rather
Yeah, but they say, general categories I get.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
They can kind of deduce from those what the DQ was for.
Right. But
Because they
even
got
the
the
states I
standards.
worked in, you got DQ'd for maturity, integrity, whatever. We'll do those, but we're not giving them specifics as to what they're being disqualified for.
Right. You're not saying.
I mean, example I had is like a guy applied and I talked to one of his sisters and she's like, oh, he's racist as heck. You should not even hire him. Well,
Yeah, you can't reveal that.
you can't reveal that.
I get that. But from what you're saying, what my understanding was, well, you got to tell them something.
No, I'm saying if it's a confidential resource, and
Right.
I said that already. If it's confidential from a reference or something, those are just confidential flat out. You can't tell them, yeah, one of your friends told me or something like that.
Well, what category are you putting it under then?
You can't You can't. Those things can't be disclosed. Period.
I get that. I understand that, Ken.
And you.
That's why I like the all or nothing, and I'm with the don't disclose anything.
Yeah, and see, like I like a hybrid. I like a hybrid where somebody can know. Rob, have you ever been ghosted by a background investigator?
Many times.
Yeah, well, did it feel good? Did you go, man, if I could just find out what the heck they're?
No, I was in the process, I was literally like almost to the end of the process for Ventura County Sheriff's, and I got the non-select and tried calling, emailing, trying to get in touch at like every which way with my background investigator. Never got a return, like no callback, no email, nothing.
Yeah. So that being said, I have a case study for us.
Oh Lord.
Uh-oh.
Case study. So a candidate applies with a department. They have a nasty breakup with their ex. And the candidate goes and said, "Hey, so I had a nasty breakup with the ex, and they're probably gonna talk trash about me." The background investigator gets that information. The background investigator talks to the ex, and the ex badmouths the candidate and makes up all kinds of fake information. And then the candidate gets perm DQ'd by the department based on this nasty ex without any recourse whatsoever or the ability. This is a confidential source, but even so, the candidate front loaded the background and said this is going to happen. And then no matter what resources that the candidate can provide, I have people that know about this. I have friends that can, back me up on everything that I'm saying. The background investigator takes the information, and that was it. The person's perm DQ. That's a difficult situation, and there's no recourse because it's confidential, but they know that the reference lied.
I mean,
can I ask
so
questions?
here's the interesting thing. Isn't that borderline slander? Because it's like if they're, but like you have to be able to prove it's not true.
Let me answer this real quick, Donovan. The backgrounds are absolutely confidential. Nobody can access them. You can't access. You could subpoena a background investigation, and you're never going to get it.
Don't be so sure.
Well, you may know something. I've never seen one subpoenaed before, and person been successful. Okay, go ahead. Ask questions.
So here's the questions. Did the background investigator do extra legwork to confirm or dispel the claims?
No.
Well, there's the issue.
So again, Ken, this is where we get into our lazy background investigators, aka untrained background investigators, destroying some people's careers.
Yeah.
I mean, in this case, absolutely, because that's a permanent DQ. Now, any department that person applies to, they're going to see, oh, you got permanently disqualified from this agency. We're not even going to touch you.
Right. Well, hold on.
We have
again
a lifeline.
Lazy background investigator will say, "Yep, we're not touching you."
Okay.
A trained background investigator should look at the investigation and see what they did to confirm all this information.
Should.
Would they though?
I mean, Ken, going back to what you talked about, Adam, wasn't he passed on by a bunch of different background investigators before he got to you?
Was he? I can't remember.
I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you took the time to actually look into it and realize, oh, like all these background investigators that disqualified him. And not
right. That was several years later, though, after he went to the military and everything.
Right. The question is, and a lot of candidates don't know this, is the question is, if I was to throw it out there, can candidates get blackballed?
Yes.
100%. And I'm gonna put a caveat on that. Okay. Blackball, can they be blackballed because of lazy background investigators? Yes, absolutely. They don't want to do the work. Okay. However, when you have someone who is pissed off that they got disqualified and they're the one who starts writing the nasty emails back to the department, the sergeant, the background investigator, the chief, everyone, applicants don't understand everything. Every communication you have with the background unit goes into your background file. And
Yeah.
I know one person in particular who did this to one department, got disqualified, and man, the emails just started going. It applies to another place. All of a sudden, they're like, "Whoa, we don't want to touch that." That's shows a loose cannon. Now, has he shown pattern before anything? Absolutely. But if someone gets disqualified because of something, and they just like, "I'll keep trying," you're going to find that background investigator who's going to take the time, look into it. To me, I mean, my boss hates it. I'm like, I'm always up for a good story. I'll bring them in for a conversation to find out what's going on, and from your example, why not find out what's going on? He permanently disqualified. But again, I'm always hesitant on those, especially when it's an ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. I'm always kind of leery on that. I want to know what work has been done to bring that information to light. I mean, has it been verified? Does does that person show a pattern of this kind of stuff? Again, it gets back to those patterns and behaviors that background investigators are supposed to be looking for. And untrained background investigators are not doing that.
No. And I'm going to add something to that. And then I'm going to go into that blackball thing.
Okay.
What happens when the X is an employer? And then that adds something to it. But first, I want to go into the blackball thing, how that happens. So Donovan can add to this. The way candidates get blackballed, and I believe this happened to Rob.
I know it happened to me, but
you can get DQ'd or non-selected or whatever at a department. And if somebody looks at it, and we're talking about lazy background investigators, Donovan, a lazy background investigator or untrained one looks at the application. You like that?
I think that's a better way for us to say it, Ken.
I don't know. I don't like to pull punches or anything, but the background investigator who's untrained gets the file and then sees a DQ. And if they're lazy, they will go, "Oh, you know what? They were DQ'd by this agency. I'm going to DQ them."
Yep.
And then you get 5 of those, 5 lazy background investigators, or maybe one investigator calls the agency and they go, "Yeah, they were DQ'd for this." And then they go, "You know what? Too much work. And then all of a sudden they build up all these DQs without ever getting past the PHS. And now it's an avalanche and you're blackballed just because you got DQ'd the very first DQ you got. Now it's multiple DQs or non-selects in a row. And then once those pile up and you see them, then they go, "Yeah, I'm not going to do a background. We're just going to non-select them."
Right.
The thing about being a former employee of your Spiteful X, those, there's only 11 states in the United States that have laws that say you can review your personnel file.
Right.
As a former employee, only 11 states.
Right.
And so even if you look at the file, there can be nothing in there. Employers can purge your file. They don't even have to have one. But what the employer says over the phone is confidential.
Right.
And so if they're going to badmouth me, there's no way to find out what they said.
Right. But that's why it's so important on all the PHSs. They ask for coworkers too.
Yeah.
And do your due diligence and find those coworkers, because there's going to be someone who can back you up and say, "Oh yeah, that they were nuts. That supervisor, that ex of theirs, that they were crazy." And it'll be able to back you up. And applicants I see just do not take the time to do the work to put in those coworkers. I don't remember names. I don't remember numbers. Well, in this day and age, there's so much social media out there. You can get in contact with these people. Don't hand me a line anymore, but get those coworkers. That's what's going to help you. Again, anything you can do to back things up and front load it with the background investigator. This ex who is my manager or supervisor is going to talk bad stuff about me, but I have my coworkers who are going to provide you what the real story is. Get as much information on that personal history statement. You and I we both say it, man, get your story out there before you even talk to the background investigator, because it's your one shot.
Yeah. And I think Rob was kind of at a disadvantage because you're a good cop. You
Mhm.
didn't, there's no reason why you shouldn't have been hired by any of these agencies. But I honestly believe that you got, a DQ from one agency, and the rest of them followed. I don't think anybody did a background on you.
Mm-hmm.
I think only a couple did, but so this is an interesting little tidbit that I don't know whether it's 100% true or not, but so when I was going through the background process for my current agency, so I provide everything from my LAPD background. Like I actually went down and not only reviewed my LAPD file, but made a copy of it. So they allowed me to make a copy. Although I had to pay like I think $35 for a copy because it was a large file because it's everything.
Mm-hmm.
I had one complaint very early on in my career, and I basically got slapped on the wrist. Like no days off. It was basically an official reprimand, basically saying, "Hey, don't do that again." So when I was at the end of my process for my current agency, I was actually doing the oral psych where I was talking to a psychologist, and he brought up, he asked if like I, been suspended in my current or old department. I'm like, no, that told him everything. I got, just got a base slap on the wrist. He's like, huh, like since your LAPD says you took a 1-day suspension, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no, that's 100% false, and I'm like that, and so it made me wonder was like one, why did LAPD tell them something rather than just giving my file? But two, were they telling other departments that? And so was that the reason why, I got non-selected so much is because I told them I only got official reprimand, no suspension days, like that, and they were telling something different that wasn't in my file.
Right. And somebody could, an untrained background investigator may look at it and go, oh, you know what? He was dishonest
Right.
on this application, and he didn't disclose a written reprimand or something.
Right.
And they
Basically,
don't
I
look into
disclosed
it.
as a written reprimand, but then if LAPD was saying it was a 1-day suspension, well, there's a dishonesty. I'm lying, and we're not even going to deal with it. Rather than trying to get my file to see what it actually says.
Right.
Did you ever
Right.
provide since you had a copy of the file, did you ever provide that to the background investigator?
Yeah, I did. I had it. I actually offered to provide it, but they still had to get it from LAPD, which apparently was a nightmare in and of itself because from what I remember him telling me is like it not only were they taking forever, but then of course it's different states, so
Mm-hmm.
it was a nightmare trying to get it from them.
Yeah, because I'll always ask, hey, do you have a copy of your file? Because I want to match up what the employers tell me to what you have. And I mean, if you all of a sudden you show me a document that says it was, like a verbal warning or whatever, or however they document it, and they're saying, oh, it's a written warning. I'm gonna like, I really pushed one department. I'm like, I need a copy of the written warning. If it's a written warning, I need a copy of it, not just your word. I need the copy of it. And they never produced it. And I'm like, you don't have any proof it was a written warning. This is what I have.
Right.
I got to go with that,
And what was the $35 for?
To make a copy of my entire personnel package.
Because under California law, you can make copies of anything you signed.
Oh no, they charge.
That's illegal.
Well, welcome to LA.
Yeah, but he
LA
only
knows
signed
for
like 4 of those pages, so he didn't get charged for those.
I didn't get charged for the ones.
So LAPD makes it incredibly difficult to view your background package because obviously I left in 2022, so basically I had to make an appointment to go down there to request it, had to formally request it, and then I had to come back 2 weeks later just to view it. And then for a copy, I had to pay the money through like I think money order or whatever, and then wait like another 2 weeks to get the actual copy. And I had to go make an appointment to go down there to pick. It was a nightmare. I'm just like, I made like 5 trips down there just to get the copy.
Yeah. Donovan, I think there's a lot of background investigators that say, oh, this is, I have to review an LAPD officer's
Oh yeah,
personnel file. Oh, and then do they have does IA have different files somewhere else,
yep,
like the Bradbury building or something?
yep. Because my personnel package for that written reprimand, it's just a single page. It just says I was basically, I received a written reprimand on this date and this time, and that's it. So if they wanted to see what actually occurred, they would have to go, I don't know what the process is. It's a whole nother process to get all the documentation.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought of this. There was a big agency. I mean, it's a big agency in California. It's a statewide agency. And I said, "Hey, so I just want to review the file." And a couple days later, the background investigator, who must have been new, they sent me the entire background in an email.
Wow.
And I'm going, okay. I didn't call back and go, "Hey, so you're not supposed to do this." I just reviewed the file and said, "Thank you very much." But yeah, LAPD is notorious. Their personnel department,
Yep.
which is different from the city personnel. They have their own personnel department. They're notorious from dragging their feet,
Yeah.
taking their time, even for background investigators.
Yeah.
And now that LA City, they've taken it over. I mean, it's probably even worse. They've taken over all of backgrounds.
Oh, the LAPD personnel. They took it from LAPD personnel.
Yeah, it's all LA City now.
Oh, wow. Because they always had their own personnel department, LAPD.
I think they still do, but LA City basically controls LA City controls the entire hiring process now.
Well, they don't.
Sure
Because
about that?
they're more hands-on in the process, but it's kind of I think the mayor forced them to work with LAPD, because personnel used to be like, "Oh no, we do all that," and they would be really jerks about it. And now
Yeah.
they have to work. They have this big committee or something like that where they all work together. But personnel had to be forced to include LAPD in all that stuff, only
Wow.
because of the mayor.
Shocking, the mayor actually backed LAPD.
Yeah, there was a lot of shenanigans going on over there. But as far as spiteful X's and things like that, there's also this one this one thing where, like, you can the background investigator can ask the candidate, "Hey, so how did it go with the breakup?" "It was a bad breakup. It was a bad breakup." And then you call the X, and there's one of two responses that you get. They were really, really bad, because they're trying to submarine the background. Then there's ones that go, "Best guy ever, best," because they want alimony, and the more money they make, they want them to get hired. And so there's that too. But the bottom line is that X's can be notoriously difficult, and they can lie.
Yeah.
And they can get away with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we've exhausted that. Does anybody want to say anything else?
I think you did a good job covering it, Ken.
I want to thank you. I want to bring something up because Rob has an opinion on this, and Donovan always has an opinion. There was an article that came out yesterday. And in the first time in history of California Post, there are two officers that were involved in LAPD shooting.
Oh yes.
And
What about this?
the old chief of police, Michael Moore, and the police commission, both of them said the shooting was out of policy because the suspect presented no further threat. And for the first time ever, two LAPD officers have been in this committee to decertify them from Post. And it's all that. What's that Senate bill?
SB2.
What is that? That's where this.
So SB2, because I remember when it started getting traction, I was actually asked by a supervisor to kind of keep tabs on it. This was during COVID and the vaccine mandate too. But to give a little more backstory on that particular set of officers, so they got involved in the shooting, deemed it out of policy. They already got suspended. I think one got suspended for like 20 days, and another one for 6 or whatever. They got suspended. But then, so as a result, with SB2 got passed, LAPD basically sent, actually most agencies sent hundreds of files to Post basically for review. I believe because they're mandated. So actually, you're going to see a lot more of that because whatever group is doing it through California Post is they're just so overwhelmed with all the ones they have to review that they're just now starting to come up with like decisions. But yeah, basically you can get decertified as an officer in California because of something that happened years ago.
Yeah, and it's also still in the DA's office too for review.
Really? I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, it hasn't been fully investigated or whatever. But I just kind of wonder. Somebody posted in my Instagram. They go, "What's the point? Why be a cop?
In
You know,
California.
in California."
There's some states that still value law enforcement.
Well, are you saying there shouldn't be a committee that is going to look at cases to decertify?
No, there shouldn't be no committee.
I mean, I think here's what I think officers are in fear of is that it's like in this case, you know, it happened what like 3-4 years ago, and now it's getting brought back to light to where they could like actually get decertified. And you know, I think from my understanding of the way SB2 is written and all that, there's very few instances in which you can actually get decertified. It's got to be pretty egregious. Um, you know, I think a vast majority of the ones that get forwarded to the committee, they won't get decertified. But I think that's the fear from a lot of officers. It's like, you know, it's just they get punished by the departments and now they're going, you know, it's getting sent to a committee that probably isn't, you know, they don't have any law enforcement experience. And now they're making a decision whether they can even be a cop in California ever again.
Who makes up this committee? Do you know? I mean,
it's through California Post. I don't know who exactly is on it. I'd have to check that, but I mean, California Post, they set the standards for law enforcement, so you got to imagine they have some experience, hopefully.
Well, they're appointed by, I think, by Newsom's office or something like that.
I mean, a lot of states have that. I mean, Washington has that same type of committee. It's a mix of civilians and sworn personnel, but there are officers who are being decertified in Washington state, and rightfully so. They should never be a cop for the things that they've done.
Like if you were saying, "Hey, I'm a cop, and if I'm behind you, and I'm going to find something to stop you for," like that would be a DQ type of thing.
Or you could just turn in your commission and say, "I'm not going to be a cop again."
Inside,
I mean, it's like
inside joke.
Inside joke. Yes,
I think
something like that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Integrity is a big thing.
Yes. The fear is the same fear happened when body worn cameras came out, you know, and it's like just with any new thing that cops have to deal with, everybody freaks out and think it's the end of the world.
Yep. And I think Ken's Instagram post addressed that very well with everyone wanted body cams to keep an eye on police. Oh, they're so bad. All of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, the wrong people are actually being videoed doing the wrong things. Cops are doing their job. We got to get rid of those cameras.
Yep.
And so what Donovan's talking about is I put a post up on Instagram by a really good Instagram account, and it was slide after slide after slide of people losing their minds on body worn cameras, and the whole thing was about BLM in 2020. They go, we need body cams so we can show all the racism and the racist cops and how they're killing black people and stuff like that. And then so they got the body cams, and then they showed there was this one slide where now all these people that demanded body worn cameras, now they're saying, what did they say? They were racist or something?
They're racist. Yes. I mean, isn't the ACLU now demanding that body cameras not be used anymore? Because they were the big ones. They were a proponent of body cameras. I recently heard that ACLU is now saying because again, they've got nothing to fight anymore.
Yeah.
What? How can you fight against body worn cameras? It's the truth.
It's a camera.
Right?
Yeah.
Cops dug their heels on those things, and more and more we're finding out it's saving more cops' careers than ever before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because how many times have they said, oh, the cop did this and the cop did that? Then they release the departments now are going, hey, yeah, so here's the body worn camera. And it totally refutes what someone says because you can't lie about it.
Right.
That's why a lot of agencies are going. Soon as an incident occurs, like a serious incident, like officer involved shooting, whatever, a lot of agencies now are releasing body worn camera within a couple of days.
Right.
Yeah. They're fast. And
I mean, and the departments that have the body worn and the dash cameras, man, that's just the extra. I mean, when I was in Wisconsin, a supervisor, we had dash cameras, and it saved one of my officers' career. I had someone come in and complain, saying he planted drugs, and all of a sudden I see the guy dropping drugs out of his pants. I'm like, what? Do you want to just walk out to my car in handcuffs, or is there going to be a fight here? Because you're going to jail for lying now.
yeah. I don't know how that's going to play out, because I can't see them getting rid of. I mean, how can you get a court to rule? Yeah, you know what? No more body worn camera. Can you force an agency to get rid of them?
I don't think they have any legal ground to stand on now. I mean, they fought so hard to get these in. There's so many grants, that they fought. Hey, agencies need grants to get these. We need them out there to show that we can. All these bad cops, and it didn't work out in their favor because, like we've been saying from the beginning, we're doing the job. Probably one of the best places in the world to be a cop and trust a cop.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of news coming out, but I'll be interested. I'll be following that if ACLU tries to pull that stupidity. But to say that the body worn cameras are racist is just
right. Yeah, it's entertaining.
Yeah, because that post also said that BLM was got all their momentum in 2020 from all the cops killing black folks, and then it turns out that the body worn cameras came in and totally destroyed the narrative.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
So, before we go, let me just say this. You can get a hold of us, policebackground.net, and I do background prep for candidates. Donovan does prepforduty.com. He does oral interview prep. He has a workbook and a book. And while we're at it, this here is Donovan's book. He has a workbook and all you have to do is click on the QR code and it'll take you there. He's got a workbook. He's got an actual ebook, and Donovan also does in-person oral interview prep, and he does a great job. This kind of guy here, Kenny Roybal, has a book called Police Background Investigations, and if you want to get into my simple mind, it's Inside the Mind of a Background Investigator. Those books are available on those QR codes. You can also go to our websites and pick them up as well. And I'm waiting for Rob to write a book so we can hook it here.
You're going to be waiting a while for that.
Oh, man. Come on, Rob. Write a book, man.
If I have some free time, I might.
Everyone's doing it, man. Peer pressure.
Everyone's doing it. Yeah, you got to have a book. You could have an LAPD book. My life is an LAPD.
Oh, geez, no.
Officer, man.
We can call it The Rookie.
Oh,
wait, that title's taken.
Oh, geez.
OG. How I was an OG cop in LA.
Oh.
What divisions did you work?
Southeast, West LA, Harbor, South Bureau, West Valley, Van Nuys. I worked the homeless unit for a couple of years. I think that's it.
That's a lot of divisions, man.
Yes.
That's a lot of divisions.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But good for you. Southeast is for hard chargers. And you were doing that. Did you learn police work there?
I did.
Crips and Bloods, colors. Colors. And if you guys listen to the Police Applicant podcast, we're going to do a big podcast episode with Marlon Marache. We're going to go through the entire Rampart scandal, that led to the LAPD getting involved in a federal consent decree, which was a pain in the butt, and led to a lot of the stuff that you see today, that a lot of this oversight stuff with LAPD. So with that, gentlemen, do you have anything else you want to say?
Not at all.
No.
It's always a pleasure, Ken.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
We'll be back. We'll be back next week, guys.